It's midnight and you're tuning into Nightline with me, Raymond. The headlines. Get your jabs or face action, civil servants told. And 33-fold increase in COVID-19 infections of individuals under the age of 18. Good morning. The Public Service Department, PSD, has made it compulsory for federal government employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19 by November 1st. It said that almost 98% of civil servants have taken the vaccination, with 1.6% involving 16,902 people having yet to register. In a statement on Thursday, the PSD said it was to give confidence and assurance to the public to ensure the smooth delivery of public services to the people. The move is also in line with efforts to restore the government services to full operational level, based on the phases of the National Recovery Plan. During the period, government employees who have yet to receive their COVID-19 vaccine must walk into any government vaccination center to get vaccinated. For those who cannot be given the vaccine due to health reasons, they have to submit the necessary health documents that have been verified by a government medical officer to their respective department head. The PSD said those who did not get the vaccine by the stipulated time frame without a valid exemption would be subjected to disciplinary action in accordance with the Public Officers Regulations for Conduct and Discipline 1993. Meanwhile, the Congress of Unions of Employees in the Public and Civil Services, QPEX, said it fully supported the PSD's directive and went further by suggesting that civil servants should not return to offices until they have had their jabs. QPEX President Adnan Mat said in a statement that PSD's announcement was not intended to punish civil servants. He said that there had been plenty of opportunities and time given to civil servants to get vaccinated since the COVID-19 National Immunization Program was launched. He added that any failure by a civil servant to abide by instructions given by the government will result in him or her being subjected to disciplinary action in accordance with the Public Officers Conduct and Discipline Regulations 1993. The Health Ministry recorded a 33-fold increase in new COVID-19 infections among people under 18 in the past 9 months. Its Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said more than 400,000 cases of infection were reported this year, compared with only around 12,000 last year.
Dalam hal ini adalah tanggungjawab kita bersama untuk terus memastikan anak-anak kita terhindar daripada COVID-19 dengan memastikan persekitaran yang selamat buat mereka, termasuklah mengambil langkah-langkah pencegahan dan perlindungan yang sewajarnya.
He said this while delivering the keynote address in conjunction with a webinar organized by the Health Ministry entitled Living with the COVID-19 Virus, Children and Adolescents. The government, he added, had started vaccinating teenagers between the ages of 12 and 17 as an attempt to protect the group. Currently, more than 30% of the total 2.5 million adolescent vaccination targets have received the first dose. Meanwhile, those looking to travel interstate to go to school or educational institutions must have a certified letter from the Education Ministry or the respective schools and institutions, according to police. Bukit Aman Internal Security and Public Order Department Director Dato' Hazani Ghazali said this applies to students, parents and teachers, and the letter must be shown when going through police roadblocks to ensure smooth travel. In a statement, he said students involved are allowed to cross state borders using a letter certified by the Education Ministry or schools and education institutions. Teachers and educators who will travel interstate for the purpose of teaching or teaching and learning (PDP) must also have letters certified by the Ministry or schools and institutions. Malaysia's economy is expected to rebound in 2022, in line with the expected recovery in the global economy throughout the second half of 2021 and into next year, particularly as more countries step up their vaccination efforts. In the second Fiscal Policy Committee (FPC) meeting, the Finance Ministry said the continued implementation of economic and fiscal stimulus measures will also support Malaysia's economic growth, which is expected to remain strong at 6% and 5.8%, according to the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and the World Bank, respectively. In a statement on Thursday evening, the Finance Ministry said as a small and open economy, Malaysia's recovery is highly dependent on the global economic recovery, particularly that of Malaysia's major trading partners. It said prospects for economic recovery in the near term appeared more favourable, supported by the National Recovery Plan (NRP's) systematic reopening of various economic sectors, including social activities such as dining in and tourism. The improvement in the economy has been supported by a recovery in the labour market, with the unemployment rate improving to 4.8% in July 2021 from a high of 5.3% in May 2020, as well as increased manufacturing sector sales by 0.6% to 119.8 billion ringgit in July 2021. External trade has expanded, with exports adding 18.4% to 95.6 billion ringgit in August 2021, while imports improved by 12.5% to 74.2 billion ringgit. The leading index gained by 0.5% in July 2021, after a 6% drop in April 2020, which indicates a gradual economic recovery in the near term and improved economic prospects by 2022.
Resetting the economy, restoring the well-being and the prosperity of the rakyat, ensuring that no one is left behind, enhancing the nation's competitiveness, the enablers and game changers to achieve a high-income nation goal. The start of a new phase in Malaysia's development journey. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economy, Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad, speaks with Money Matters this Saturday at 5 p.m. only on TV3.
All cabinet ministers have been instructed to announce their respective report card on 100-day achievement of Keluarga Malaysia aspirations to the public. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this is to allow the people to assess the performance of ministers and their ministries in ensuring the well-being of Keluarga Malaysia. According to the Prime Minister, the government has placed the achievement of Keluarga Malaysia aspirations as the utmost priority for each minister in giving their best service to the people. He said the cabinet meeting on September 10th decided that the 100 days would begin on September 1st, the day they had their first meeting. On September 24th and 29th, the Prime Minister had held sessions with all 31 cabinet ministers to finalise their lists of proposed aspirations. The implementation of all initiatives for each aspiration was based on 6 key thrusts, namely restructuring the economy, assuring national security and public order, enhancing social well-being, improving overall infrastructure, strengthening unity based on the Keluarga Malaysia model, and empowering service delivery. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the Office of Chief Secretary to the Government, the Malaysian Administrative Modernisation and Planning Unit (MAMPU) and the Shared Prosperity Delivery Unit (SEPADU) will act as joint coordinator to ensure the success of the planning, implementation, monitoring and improvement of each aspiration proposed by the Cabinet Ministers. The opening of the country's borders to foreign tourists will only be decided after Malaysia moves into the COVID-19 endemic phase. Home Minister Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin said the country was currently still in the pandemic phase and its readiness to transition to the endemic phase would be determined by the Health Ministry.
Sebenarnya immigration dah bersedia PGA pun dah bersedia, kita dah bersedia. Cuma dari segi SOP kita nanti bila fasa endemik itu akan ditetapkan.
Datuk Sri Hamzah said this to reporters after the handover ceremony of the Malaysian Border Control Agency to the police in Bukit Kayu Hitam on Thursday. He also said that permission to cross the country's borders by Malaysians or foreigners would also be subject to the standard operating procedures that would be determined later. The government will announce the strategic direction of the nation's vaccine development on November 1st. Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Adham Baba told the Dewan Rakyat that the announcement would be made by the Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob.
Dana vaksin sebanyak 60 juta itu adalah turutan daripada rancangan Malaysia ke-9 dahulu. Itu pun bukan 60 juta tapi 50 juta, 55.46 juta. Jadi pembangunan vaksin itu meliputi vaksin-vaksin in human dan juga animal. Walau bagaimanapun, perkara ini telah pun dipertingkatkan akhir-akhir ini. Dan kita akan membangunkan satu roadmap ataupun plan strategik pembangunan vaksin negara yang akan diumumkan pada 1 November ini oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri.
Datuk Sri Dr. Adham also said that his ministry, through the COVID-19 Immunization Task Force, CITF, was optimistic that the efforts being implemented in the national COVID-19 immunization program were on track. To speed up the vaccination process, CITF, through capacity surge operations, has successfully vaccinated almost all adults in the Klang Valley. The nation's construction industry suffered losses amounting to 42 billion ringgit since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic last year. Senior Works Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof told the Dewan Rakyat that his ministry has held several engagement sessions with industry stakeholders to identify the factors leading to those losses.
Berdasar daripada pandemik COVID-19 dan pelaksanaan PKP, sektor pembinaan mencatatkan penurunan kadar pertumbuhan sebanyak 19.4% pada tahun 2020. Sementara pada suku pertama 2021, sektor pembinaan terus menurun pada kadar 10.4%. Walau bagaimanapun, ianya telah meningkat pada kadar 40.3% pada suku kedua 2021.
The senior minister said that this led to the industry suffering losses amounting to 42 billion ringgit since March last year. He added that among the factors were a rise in labour costs, the cost of building materials, labour shortage, strict enforcement of standard operating procedures (SOP), and workers' housing. To minimise the impact on contractors, Datuk Sri Fadilah said the ministry had proposed to the Finance Ministry to reinstate a price variation clause for specific items in contracts for government projects. The implementation of the cabotage policy should not be blamed as the sole factor for Malaysia's exclusion from the Apricot Subsea Cable System project. Transport Minister Datuk Sri Wee Ka Siong said Malaysia's involvement or otherwise in Apricot or other projects was based on various factors, including the offer made and conditions set by a technology giant. Datuk Sri Wee said the policy has been in effect since 1980 and the current cancellation of the cabotage policy exemption is only for repair works and does not prevent the entry of foreign investments in the digital industry.
Apa yang berlaku sekarang, Yang Berhormat gunakan soal pembaikan. Tapi projek ini adalah pemasangan. Apa yang pengurusi MDEC kata itu tak betul. Kerana dasar kabotaj ini hanya diguna pakai dalam konteks pembaikan, bukannya pemasangan. Itu pertama.
He said this can be observed through the implementation of new subsea cable projects such as the Malaysia, India, Singapore, Thailand Cable System or MIST, as well as the India-Asia Express Cable System. The minister also pointed out that the MIST cable system would be connected to the Apricot system, which in turn would connect Singapore, Japan, Guam, the Philippines and Indonesia. Tech giants Facebook and Google recently announced Apricot, a new subsea cable that will boost connectivity in the Asia-Pacific region. The 12,000-kilometer-long submarine cable will connect Japan, Taiwan, Guam, the Philippines, Indonesia and Singapore. The roles of government-linked companies and government-linked investment companies need to be re-evaluated. Pago MP Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin told the Dewan Rakyat that this is necessary so that existing government assets can be optimized to help strengthen the country's infrastructure, economic recovery process and growth ahead.
Sehubungan itu, kerajaan perlu memberikan tumpuan untuk memperkukuhkan sektor-sektor ekonomi yang memberikan sumbangan besar pada keluaran dalam negara kasar dan menyediakan ekosistem yang kondusif bagi merancangkan pemulihan Malaysia dan menjadikan negara sebagai destinasi mesra perniagaan dan pelaburan yang mempunyai teknologi tinggi dan mempunyai nilai tambah ataupun value added yang lebih besar.
He said focus should also be given in providing job opportunities that cover various modern sectors. At the same time, he said the government needs to continue being proactive under the National Employment Council to achieve the target of creating 500,000 job opportunities this year. Three-year-old tourist first to test positive for COVID-19 in Langkawi. Details when we come back. Thanks for staying with us on Nightline. The first batch from the Malaysian Battalion 850-9 or Melbat 850-9 team has made Malaysian Armed Forces MAF history for having the most number of female personnel since the MAF's involvement in the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon UNIFIL mission. 11 female officers and 75 others of various ranks are being sent on a one-year mission in contrast to a 6-month rotation previously.
Ia akan diatur gerak ke Lumbnan secara berperingkat bermula hari ini. Ia bakal menggantikan Malbat 8508 yang akan tamat operasi 12 bulan pada 13 November 2021. Kekuatan keseluruhan Malbat 8509 ialah seramai 854 orang, iaitu 83 pegawai dan 771 anggota lain-lain pangkat.
He added that for the first time, Melbat is accompanied by a female civil servant from the Finance Division of the Defence Ministry, Farah Zamira Farush Han. He said this at a media conference after attending the wearing of the United Nations beret ceremony, the handing over of the Malaysian flag and the deployment of the Melbat 850-9 first batch to Lebanon at the RMAF Subang Air Base on Thursday. Melbat 850-9 will again be accompanied by 30 personnel from the Royal Brunei Armed Forces within the framework of long-standing Malaysia-Brunei defence ties. The Kedah Health Department has confirmed that a 3-year-old child is the first COVID-19 case to be detected involving tourists to Langkawi under the tourism bubble. Kedah Health Director Dr. Othman Warijo said based on investigations by the Langkawi District Health Office, the child arrived in Langkawi at 7:30 p.m. on September 24th via a flight from KLIA 2. Dr. Othman said the family of 3 consisting of the child and the parents had come from Nilai in Negeri Sembilan. He said the child began having fever the next day and was sent for treatment on September 26 before being confirmed COVID-19 positive. Dr. Othman added that there was a possibility the child may have been infected before travelling to Langkawi, and further investigation as well as close contact tracing was ongoing. After the break, Spain's La Palma gains ground from the sea as lava piles up. Welcome back. Britain on Thursday announced that a gas station crisis caused by an acute shortage of truck drivers was back under control, though many pumps remained closed in London, leaving motorists searching for or queuing for hours to fill their tanks. In a chaotic week where fights broke out at gas stations and people filled up old water bottles with gasoline, British ministers have repeatedly said that the crisis is easing, though they ordered soldiers on Wednesday to start driving fuel tankers. The Petrol Retailers Association, which represents independent retailers who account for about 2/3 of all UK's filling stations, in the meantime said that so far, 27% of members reported being out of fuel, and is expected that the situation is to further improve in the next 24 hours. Lava from the Cumbre Vieja volcano on Spain's La Palma poured into the Atlantic Ocean for the second day on Thursday, creating a rocky outcrop more than 500 meters wide that extends the island's coastline further to the west. After meandering downhill to the coast for nearly 10 days, the lava reached the ocean just before midnight on Tuesday near the town of Tezacote. On reaching the water, the lava cools rapidly, binding to the cliffside and enlarging the island's territory. Despite fears of toxic gases from the lava reacting with the seawater, authorities said the air remained fine to breathe inland. Vicente Soler, a volcanologist with Spain's National Research Council, said by flowing into the sea, the lava was less likely to cause damage on land. Chicharito scores as Galaxy suffer third straight loss. Sports up next. Sports MLS football. Real Salt Lake substitute Julio Santos came off the bench to steal the points for his team in the 96th minute with an astonishing volley after Javier Chicharito Hernandez thought he'd rescued a point for Los Angeles. Damir Krylak headed in the opener for Real Salt Lake in the 45th minute. Los Angeles had thought they had secured at least a point when Ecuadorian Javier Chicharito Hernandez equalized in the 76th minute after dominating the game, before Julio drilled in the game-winning goal in the 96th minute with an astonishing volley. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at the Thai paragliding team putting its aerial skills to good use by flying 8 sorties over flood-hit villages and dropping vital supplies to the stranded residents below. The 15-strong group began operations last Saturday in Sukhothai province in lower northern Thailand after tropical storm Dianmu combined with annual monsoon rains to inundate the area. With that, I'm Raymond Goh. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.